Tell me about a time. I'm already throwing a curveball.
Okay.
Tell me about a time when somebody called you and had an idea that was just so massive it was laughable.
Tell me about a time when somebody hasn't called me with a massive idea. It's so common that everybody will say it's really simple, but the definition of simple that they have versus the real one is so different. People think it's simple because it's in their mind and they see it that way, but I don't think they really are that simple. And the thing that's most critical about this is MVP to me, which is minimum viable product, is the most critical principle that you have to live as an early stage startup. And yet it's the most violated principle I've ever seen. And it almost gets violated 99% of the time. It just does all the time. So we just all have very different ideas of what simple is, what minimum is. So I like to think of it in these terms, and this kind of helps people kind of think of it differently. Build something you can build in 90 days. That kind of puts a time limit on how long you get to build. And that means you have to reduce down what you're building, something small enough that you can build in 90 days. But I think people hate that so much because they feel like it breaks their whole vision because what's in their head. And so I like to say, your vision is 3 years, your MVP is 3 months. So that's cool, have a crazy big vision. There's nothing wrong with that, you should have a big vision. But if you build your whole vision, then there's nowhere to go. And not only that, there's nothing to test. You don't know, you built something so big you can't even test it in the market space. And so that's where the problem gets off. And the best example of this is Amazon, 100%. You think of being in the room, what did Amazon start with? What was their first product? People always say books when I ask that question. The truth is no, it wasn't books, it was used books. They went even farther down. So I just always picture Jeff Bezos in this room and everybody's shooting, what are we gonna start with? What are we gonna start with? And they say books. And Jeff says, and it might not happen this way at all, but Jeff says, no, used books. Because he was so committed to a small MVP. But he called his company Amazon, which clearly had a much larger vision in mind. So he started with used books, his MVP, but he had this massive store in his mind that he's probably bigger than he ever thought he was gonna be. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he saw the whole thing. They sell everything, literally everything. And you could have it at your door right now. I could just think about it and it's probably already out there, right? But they started with used books. Everybody needs to take that example to heart. What is your used books? Whatever product, whatever vision you have, what's the equivalent to that? What's used books in that? And start there. And yeah, sure, think Amazon. Think big, think crazy, but you gotta start small. And that's the key to success. And everybody who violates that, I feel, always seems to fail, 100% of the time.
Yeah.